3 Golden Eagles for War Thunder. Link in the description.
Let me take off for a drive. If you come back looking for me, if you come back looking for me, if you come back looking for me, I'll be
Hello you sex beasts, welcome back to War Thunder. This is the TAR 152C. This vehicle was just released with the new 1.57 Battle March patch for War Thunder and oh my god, this thing is awesome. The TAR 152C sits at the same battle rating as the H variant at 5.7. The difference between these two aircraft is the altitude at which they are best operated. Now the thing with German fighters up until now was always high altitude, which kind of hindered them because most of the battles in War Thunder tend to happen at low to medium altitude, or at least end up at around that altitude. This thing is good. This thing is very good at medium altitude. It is a real grunt to the engine and, by the way, look at this. One 30mm Mk103 cannon mounted in the nose going straight through the propeller, two 20mm MT151 cannons mounted here and synchronous with the propeller firing through there, and another two mounted very close to the fuselage on the wings. That's a lot of firepower, 5 cannons in total, 90 rounds for the Mark 103, MK103, sorry about that, and 650 rounds for the 20mm cannons. This thing is a absolute wrecking machine. Don't go head on. Don't go head on against this thing. You will die. Now, not only are those guns all very closely mounted together, which will reduce the spread of them, making them very effective in head-ons, they also have an insane burst mass of 8.19 kilograms per second. That's comparable to that's even better than the MA410B6, which is already a very, very good aircraft. Now imagine taking these guns and putting them on a fighter. That's essentially what the TAR 152C is. Now as for armor, don't expect too much. You got some armor plates on the bottom and the top, protecting some of the fuel tanks. You have slight armor on the front engine intake, which I guess does help against head-ons, but yeah, you still don't want to get hit. Protecting the pilot, you have 70mm of bulletproof glass, slowed back for an actually effective thickness of around almost 200mm of armor. Your pilot is pretty much safe against head-on attacks. The rest of the aircraft might not be, but at least you won't get pilot sniped. From behind you have also 20mm of steel and the seat acting as 5mm and another 8mm on here. Overall, the pilot is actually very well protected. As you can see, all around the pilot seat is armor plates. Taking a look at the X-ray reveals the amazing amount of 20mm AMG151s. Look at those ammo belts. They are massive. It does seem like the cannons firing through the propeller hub do have less ammo. They only have a small belt, you can say, but the ones mounted in the wing roots, oh yeah, you can fire all day with them. However, as you can probably notice, there's a major problem. There are fuel tanks everywhere. Now, splitting the fuel tanks up into so many single units does provide its benefits. Generally, when you catch fire, the best way to put your fire out is to simply run out of fuel. So when one of these fuel tanks runs out of, catches fire, it is more likely than another aircraft that the fire is going to go out by having the fuel tank simply lose all of its fuel before it can destroy the aircraft. However, the ones here around the fuselage, these are a problem. They are bigger fuel tanks, they take longer to run out, they are right under the nice butt of the pilot, quite toasty, and if these catch fire, you are going to have a problem. As for armor belts, you can see we have pretty much default belts for both the 20 and the 30mm cannons. Now, these are the MK103s, these are the same as the Horton gets, the Dornier 335 gets, the ME410B6 gets. These are the high velocity versions, which are good. They are very good. Not only against aircraft, of course, because you have to lead them less, but also against armored targets. These HVAP shells are pretty effective against medium tanks and light pillboxes in RB Air Forces, and even some light tanks and medium tanks from the top in combined battles. But enough blabbling about. Let's hit this thing into battle. Oh, would you look at that beautiful Lonier. I gotta get myself one of those. I still haven't unlocked them, although I'm probably going to unlock them by tonight. Anyways, welcome. This is realistic battle mode on Ruhr. We are flying the TAR 152C, and well, this is my first flyout, so I didn't know how to fly this thing before. Which actually makes it quite interesting, because the match did not go bad at all whatsoever. Now the aircraft is already fully aced, because I'm a cheap whore, so I pretty much just ace every single aircraft I unlock as soon as I unlock them. Yeah, call me what you want, I just can't play stock aircraft. So, if you want to know stock performance, you'll either have to, well, hope and wait that I do a blueprints episode on this thing, or get it somewhere else. Or try it for yourself. Now this is pretty much the performance you're going to get, the best performance you're going to get ever. The aircraft is completely aced, the crew is completely aced, everything up to max. And we are the only TAR 152C in this game. Now, as I said before, the C variant of the TAR 152 is a medium altitude version, which means the engine of this thing should develop more power than the H variant at low to medium altitudes. And look at the indicated airspeed. We are maintaining 400 km per hour in a 10-degree climb angle. I've seen jets not being able to do that. This thing has a very, very good climb rate as long as you stay up to medium altitude. Now, I didn't quite manage to get up to high altitude in this match, and honestly, I didn't want to, because why would I? This thing is amazing. Look at the grunt of that engine. Right, to 2 o'clock we spot our first A26. Testing out the roll rate of this thing is very, very, very good. As is with all Focke-Wulf variants. Yes, by the way, the Focke-Wulf and the TAR are technically in the same family of aircraft. We were all designed by the same man, Kurt Tank, which is also where the abbreviation of the TAR comes from. It comes from the second name of the designer. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually the only German aircraft to have that honor, let's say, of instead of using the company name, using the name of the designer. Oh, look at that, one of the A26s. There has been an event on Facebook celebrating 500,000 likes on the War Thunder Facebook page. And a lot of people have gotten those A26s, and power to you, the A26 is an amazing aircraft. It is very, very, very good engine retention. One of the best engine retention aircraft I've seen in the game. I've flown myself. But if you keep it at low altitude, yes. I'm going to remind you how many guns this thing has. So, up in the nose, it has one 30mm Mk103. Yes, that's a high velocity version of the German 30mm cannons with Minengeschoss rounds. I am currently carrying the air target belt. The thing by itself can one-shot any aircraft in the game. And just for good measure, you have another 4 20mm cannons. Because warum zur Scheiße nicht? Honestly, this thing has amazing, amazing guns. Head-ons, Gatling bombers, anything. And it even gets a lot of ammo as well. 90 rounds for the 30mm cannons, 620 or 640 rounds for the 20mm cannons. This thing can carry a match all by itself. It's one of those aircraft that can really, really do it. It has the engine performance, it has the guns, and it has the ammunition loadout. And as you can see, it also has a very, very good energy retention. Now, we are below the main part of the enemy force. This B-17 on the up high, he's currently climbing to space. He will actually, well, be the last team member alive of his, the last member of his team alive, because the space fortresses. But then again, I can't really fault him because, well, he is in the B-17 and he's facing off against German aircraft with lots of guns. Now this F7F here tried to get into a dive on me, but thankfully, thanks to the roll rate this thing has, it's quite easy to evade enemy fire. Pulling up, put some shots into him, sadly did not quite kill him. And there's a Spitfire just behind me, I can't stay on that F7F. Using my landing flaps, trying to make an overshoot, and I do indeed. F7F is still behind me, killed one of my teammates, and crashes into me. His wingtip touched my wingtip. Wingtip touching. Now in RB battles. So after that slightly pornographic incident, my aircraft is not looking too good. But I can see this thing is still quite resistant. I took an F7F to the wing and I'm still able to fly. Albeit, the inner part of my left wing is not looking good. Lots of holes there, little lift. There's a piece of P-47M behind me. Evade him with the roll rate. He goes on, I have to go back to base. So as we are riding into the sunset, limping back to the base to repair our aircraft, let's take a look at the situation here. The enemy has lost quite a bit of aircraft, but so have we. The German 335 fighter that was with me back there is now facing off alone against the P-47 that just was diving on me, and the P-47 has killed him. There's a Tempest going head on against one of my teammates, evades his fire, goes head on against me. Mate, don't head on a TA-152C. Now he was lucky, he didn't blow up immediately, but his aircraft burned down. Now it's being a bit tough trying to keep this thing under control. The damage I took to the left side of my wing is making it difficult to put the guns on target. Now, there was a problem with the TA-152H variant, which I don't know if they fixed yet, but that thing was almost impossible to aim. The routers wouldn't respond at high speeds, and the thing was overall just very, very unresponsive to the mouse aim. This thing is interesting. It is very good at low speeds, even though the turn rate isn't the greatest around. It's not a turn fighter. But at low to medium speeds, this thing is very, very responsive. The rudder, the roll rate, everything just works together. At high speeds, however, it's a bit complicated. Even though that all the fuel tanks are on the bottom, which should give this aircraft a rather low center of gravity, this aircraft is very unstable at high speeds. I don't know if you noticed earlier when I was diving on an A26, but it wobbles around a lot. It's definitely difficult to get your guns on target when you're diving on something at high speeds, which is kind of counterproductive because this aircraft is supposed to be an energy fighter. The grunt this engine has is just absolutely amazing for zooming out of a dive, but if you can't aim those guns, you can have as many guns as you want to, but if you're not going to hit with them, it's useless. That's pretty much what I say about the FAU-1C, for example. That aircraft is absolutely useless, even though it gets 4 20mm cannons. It can't get its gun on target on anything, because it's absolutely horrible. Right, making my landing approach. Couple of things to keep in mind here. 1. The left wing is generating less lift than the right wing, so we must pay attention to not go too slow and not roll our aircraft straight into the ground. Lower the gear at around 300 km per hour, indicated airspeeds, flaps are down as well. I don't quite know the stall speed of this thing yet, and I don't want to go too slow. We don't have much lift on the wings anymore. Kind of a rough landing, but managed to touch down, apply the brakes, and well, since we do have over 8 kg per second of burst mass, we might as well use them as extra brakes. Landing done, max cruise skills, 10-second repair. The Tempest, not so good. Alright, after a short repair period, we are back in the air. The enemy team is now down to only 2 aircraft. Stan Antonov in the B-17 spacecraft and that P-47. Now the P-47 was at least fighting one of my teammates, but shot him down. He's now actually coming towards our base. Two of my teammates are over on the enemy base. We have a Donnie 335 on the left side, pounding some ground targets, and we have the Tempest and the Focke-Wulf just taking off behind us. Now the P-47 is at high altitude and is quite fast, which is the perfect use of that aircraft. So we have to get some altitude, but thankfully, since this thing has such a strong engine at these altitudes, that is no problem. Get up to 14 km per hour, get to the 10-degree climb cursor angle, and we are rocketing up into the air. Now the B-17 has been harassing our bases. Thankfully it did not take out the base where the airfield was, but he is in a location somewhere unknown. Now P-47 closed in fast, and he has seen me. He is higher and he is faster than me. The only chance I have here is to use my roll rate to evade his fire and try to get him to overshoot and get that 1 to 2 second period where I can fire my guns back on him. Now if I can get my guns on target, we should be fine. These 20 mils and these 30 mils are deadly. Even the P-47 is not going to have a great time evading them. Turn in at around 1 kilometer distance, try and roll invade, but a single shot hits the fuel tank right behind the pilot. Remember what I said earlier before the gameplay. If one of those fuel tanks sets on fire, you are screwed. They have way too much fuel and they are way too close to the center of the fuselage. Just ouch. I did try to turn my engine off and put this throttle to 0%, but since the fire was not on the wings, on the fuel tanks on the wings, but rather on the fuel tank, the main fuel tank in the fuselage, there was no getting out of that. Tower 152, well, it's a great firework machine. Anyway, this has been the gameplay for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave me a like rating, and if you didn't, you can also dislike. I wouldn't mind. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe. The next gameplay will be up on Friday. I'm still not quite sure what I'm going to upload, but it's probably going to be another one of the new vehicles of patch 1.57. But up until then, my name has been MikeGoesBoom. Thank you very much for watching.